RGV Medical College Hospital. The incident that happened recently has sparked a huge ruckus and a huge noise in the entire country, especially in the medical fraternity. What happened to the young medico who went that day? Where did we go wrong? The same questions keep cropping up again and again, and we continue to discuss these, and it passes on and another incident happens. Let's talk more about this in detail. Is this specific to the medical fraternity? Because every 16 seconds we are told a rape happens in this country. We have with us filmmaker RGV, right? RGV, I'm sure this incident shocked you, or you delved deeper into the details.
I wouldn't say shock me, because the incidents happen all the time. So shock is about when something is very unusual. In fact, what I'm shocked about is this whole element. It is eventually a man-woman thing. It is not about she being a doctor or an engineer or a something, and him being associated in civil work of police or whatever. Eventually, rape is about a man and a woman.
Right.
And then it's about an opportunity for the rapist and the vulnerability of the woman. So the point is, like in India, we always have these knee-jerk reactions without any thinking. They will protest and they'll ye karo, wo karo and all that. Now, even the details of this case are so sketchy, because there is a version from this channel, the another version from that channel. Media has conspiracies, and then what the police are saying or not saying, you'll always be confused. And the reason for that is, unlike in the US, for some strange reason, we don't have a spokesman.
Right.
See, the point is, if you look at in any crime situation in America, there's always a spokesman from the police who'll keep updating the facts of the case, whatever they want to say or not say, depending on it. And everyone else takes the feed from that.
Right.
Here, they never talk. So everyone becomes a detective, everyone becomes a conspiracy theorist.
Right.
And things like that. So the bottom line is, how can it happen in a hospital? First of all, what kind of a hospital, the time, what was the distance, and what is the mental state of the guy who's done it? All these factors actually form a case of any incident like this.
Right.
Okay. Now, 2012 Nirbhaya happened, 2019 Disha
happened, yes.
And now this. And you see the basic playbook is the same, exactly. We have to do something, we do this, do that, and all of them will shout for some time, and then they'll forget till the next incident. Next incident can happen tomorrow, but for some reason, only some rape cases get the limelight. So there's another strange thing.
Correct.
Because whatever media tends to highlight, people will think that's the only thing which happened, in spite of the numbers and the statistics telling it is happening every few minutes or few hours or whatever.
So in this case, I mean, the sad part, or the very difficult part, is that each of these cases is playing out differently. We spoke about a girl who was standing with her boyfriend, in the late hour in the night, and somebody came and 4 guys picked her up and raped her brutally on the bus. Then we spoke about Disha. Then we are speaking today about a medical college, a hospital campus where one would least expect that such things would happen. So where do you think there is a pilferage or of the system failing such people?
I mean, like I've already mentioned, it is not about the medical college. The medical college or a hospital, it conjures an image in our mind of how it looks when we go, and you will be shocked about how it happened. But this particular hospital, the timing and how empty is it, and there are too many factors. More than anything else, it's the mind state of the guy.
Right.
See, what kind of a guy will do that? Obviously, in the context of his loss of control of whatever he wants to do, not to care about the victim's feelings and her physical injuries, he just wants to take whatever he thinks is what he wants from her. He'll be termed as a mad guy,
Psychotic.
So, a psychotic guy. Now, how do logically explain a psychotic guy? That is the whole point of definition of psychopathy goes off. Now, the second point is different. Whether they reported it on time or when the FIR was filed and all that, I don't know the details, because there are too many stories of that happening in.
Correct.
Which is where, again, I want to come to my first point. How long does it take for anybody to answer this question? Why was FIR filed after the cremation was over. You know, that should be answered in 30 seconds, if at all they want to do it.
What is the first thing that comes to your mind if I were to ask you that question?
No.
Why was the FIR filed?
I have no idea, because it could be, I don't know, first of all, in affair, in how soon it has to be filed, whether they are waiting for information, whether the cremation was done by the police or the family. All these are ifs and buts, you know, in terms of that. But without the person telling, a spokesman for the police department of Calcutta telling the facts of the case, you are letting loose to 100 theories, which is one of the biggest mysteries for me, why it happens.
And then the possible
Because the moment that happens, there won't be any more media stories.
Correct.
Because you have to take it from the source.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously, I mean, starting from how the incident happened to the brutal killing, which is a very big headline, I mean, which we saw earlier also. Why are rapists choosing to kill their victims?
Yeah.
What do you feel
I
about
believe the reason for that is, in a strange thing, it is from the Nirbhaya thing, you know. Like, you know, the whole problem here is when you are talking, we are out of an emotional response, you get to kill him, cut him into pieces and this and that. That is what most people say. That is what creates a surge of emotion, which results in the protests and everything. But the bottom line, there is a saying that a punishment can never be deterrent to stop a crime. Because it is not like, if a rapist wants to do something, he will not see, okay, 5 saal hai, 5 years it's okay, 10 years I will think about it, 14 years I won't do it, death sentence I won't. I don't think anybody thinks like that.
Yes.
He will think he won't get caught. So the inevitability of getting caught is where the whole campaign should be. It's not about saying, agar tu mila, तो मैं तेरे को फांसी पे चढ़ा दूंगा. I will hang you to death. I will cut you into pieces. Because anybody who does a crime will be on the confidence that he won't get caught. Otherwise, nobody will do a crime.
Yeah. In this case,
who will want to even get 6 months of his thing, and a scandal like that? I was involved in a rape case.
Correct.
You know, so but like usual, we don't follow any logic.
Yeah. The question is, I mean, why do you think rapists are choosing to kill their?
No, because in the Nirbhaya thing, or what happened, if you're going to hang them to death or a life sentence or whatever, now once the desire is fulfilled, the fear creeps in. Now the fear of getting caught comes after the desire is done. And the only witness is going to be the girl on whom he perpetuated the act.
Right.
You know? So if he kills her, then you would feel. Now, why did this happen? In Nirbhaya case, they didn't kill her. So they just put her out. And she was the person who described the bus number or whatever all the details of the thing, how they managed to catch the culprits.
Right.
Was because what she told. So the lessons the would-be rapist learned is not to let the victim live. Which ironically, that is I mean, what do you call? The rape anyway happened, even her life being lost is because of the over-enthusiasm of how our justice system operates.
So two things are actually quite shocking. One is the brutality of how these victims are being killed. I mean...
See, the brutality can come from two ways. One is a kind of a sadistic psychopath. That is one part.
Yeah.
And second part, directly proportional to the resistance the victim is putting up.
Right.
Yeah, the resistance, and then in his mind state when he's drunk or whatever psychopathicness, I think it's a combination of those two.
And the second thing that's coming to light, because we've seen so many such incidents even in Telangana in the last few weeks, is because just the fact that we have abnormal, out of spectrum people roaming around in the society as normal people. So it's almost very difficult to predict who is going to show up as what, given an opportunity. So where do you think this is stemming from? This is not as simple
I'm not sure I got that point.
So why do you think that men or such killers are so psychotic, psychopathic in nature, and they're passing off as...
See, I would like to believe, see, I feel they're very near to animals, such people. What I mean by animals is, when a tiger or a leopard is looking at a prey, the hunger, to satisfy the hunger it offers, it doesn't really think of the deer also as an animal, as a living being. It has its bugs and all that. It doesn't, just that completely goes out. the degree and the intensity of the desire overcomes and overwhelms and kills the humanness.
Right.
To that extent, and that degree, it exists in some people, maybe not in some other people. Then some other people could be deterred by fear of law, fear of society, or fear of their own guilt or whatever. The desire exists in everyone is the point. It is to control the desire and to behave in a civil manner is what society is about.
Right.
An antisocial element by definition is against that.
Correct. So antisocial elements are more
So
and more on the move now.
Yeah, correct. More and more, I don't know, but that could be also the number of people increasing. More cases are reported, unlike in the past. No, I would think that is a more plausible.
In our state, Telangana, there was an incident of 3 or 4 minor kids raping a minor girl.
Yeah.
All of them are minors, the rapists and the victim. And the reason that was found after interrogating them was that they were watching porn.
Yeah.
Would you?
See, now the two things is, minor first of all is a legal word. When they got the desire, in today's time it can happen at 12 or 13 or whatever, technically, legally speaking, they are minors, but they have the desire quotient in them, which they got the opportunity or whatever they felt at that time, and they did that. Okay. Now coming to porn, it's like a very, right from the 70s, it was, many studies proved that porn is no direct connection to sexual crime. On the other hand, actually, porn is meant for instant gratification. So if that happens, probably he won't go on to the real women because it is a fantasy in a video imagery. Whereas a real woman might be more susceptible to danger because if he doesn't have an outlet through a certain fantasy, that is where the real danger is which many studies have consecutively proved.
Studies have reported.
Yeah, many studies. All of them are top level
because
studies.
all of the analysts and women activists who are speaking for the victims today feel that porn is a very, very
but
big...
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Eventually, anyone can have an opinion. You can't stop that. But very scientifically done studies, right from 1974, like they proved that Sweden has the least thing because that's the sexual liberalization happens the most. Wherever sexual is oppressed, that is where the sexual crimes happen the
more
most.
And more.
Yeah.
Right. So continuing this conversation, RGV, if you remember Sanjay Roy, the accused, he came out in the beginning and said, yes, he confessed to the killing, and later on he changed his version. Is this common? That happens in most crimes?
That's what I'm saying. Even the changed version, I don't know if any policeman said that. I don't know if it is a speculation of...
the media?
I don't know, because that is the whole problem. If one spokesman is there, this is what happened. As of now, this is what you want to say. And then they can dispute what he's saying with any other proof they got. But that has to be the benchmark, what the police said.
Right.
When the police are silent all the time, which is giving rise to all this. So I don't know, I have no idea. Did they publish a transcript of the polygraph test? I don't know.
No, not yet.
I never said that.
It's because
so all of this is, anybody can put any YouTube video or any channel can say anything, and you have to, depending on, you will believe any of that stuff.
So what is in fact shocking is that the report of the scene of offense, the details of how many people were involved, were there more than one rapist? Because if apparently the first report said there was 150 ml of sperm found, which is unusual for a single person to produce.
That's what I'm saying. Now, who gave that report? Nobody tells.
Nobody knows.
They'll just say,
It's not an official report at all.
That's what I'm saying.
But the Supreme Court...
if you want a conspiracy theory, you can put anything. What do you want?
Right.
Yeah.
So, do you actually see this as a random incident that could have happened anywhere?
Yeah.
Or there's some
and it happens all the time.
Because...
See, conspiracy, whether there is more to it than this before. I can come up with a theory right now. It is actually the principal who did it, and he made this a fall guy. That's one theory I can give. Second theory I can give is the principal ke upar ek bada politician tha, or that politician ka friend hai. All this is hearsay. I can come up with stories in that sense. But without evidence, there remain stories. So as of now, as it is evident, because I am only going by what the police have said so far, this is an isolated incident done by that one guy.
I think this got amplified further because she was aspiring to be a doctor, and doctors are deemed to be, almost like soldiers serving the country.
I mean, that I think is, everyone is a human being at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Every human being has a right to dignity and self-respect, and forcing her to be a part of something like this and to kill her, I don't think anyone has a special privilege just because someone studied a doctor. Everyone is equally important. Yeah.
The West Bengal Chief Minister's involvement, or the party's involvement, is also being probed into, because it seems like a systemic failure. What do you feel about that?
But that again is coming from the same conspiracy.
Conspiracy theory.
See, I have no, this is like somebody is being suspected, suddenly they say he's being tried on corruption charges. Where that came from? Of course, it's a separate case. But why they're linking both of them in the same context, I don't understand. Yeah.
This rise in sexual crimes, do you attribute it to the increase in population, or as a percentage, if you see, do you feel that actually overall things have actually some shift has happened in the society where...
I believe it is reportage which increased.
Right.
I do not believe the sexual crimes have increased. Of course, the population is definitely a major factor. And yeah, but I mean, now you don't know, when the reportage was not happening, how do you know how many rapes happened in 1960 and 1940?
Right.
You don't know. Because there's no way the reportage would have ever happened in the context of that. Yeah.
What do you think is a possible deterrent, other than, of course, legalizing, porn, or making it a, sexually
See, that's
liberated?
what I'm saying. See, deterrent is, I mean, the point is to send fear into the guys that no matter what, they'll be caught and punished by law. The inevitability of getting caught is a major thing, which we kind of are not really stressing on that. तो मिला तो मैं मार दूंगा, नहीं मिला तो कुछ नहीं कर सकते ना. That is their attitude. And also to think that they can think so much itself is a big issue.
Right.
Now what does a leopard think before it kills a deer? Bullshit, is just kind of focusing at that point. Like the Nirbhaya case, this bunch of guns were there, and they saw this girl and her boyfriend or someone, and it's like they got a prey in the jungle. Instead of shooting it, they did something else. That is their mind state. The mental mock-up is that. Now when they were interviewed,
right,
by some British woman, I think, at that point of time, they were saying that it is their fault. It's her fault. Why is a normal girl at 12 o'clock in the night?
Yeah.
Why is she moving around with a guy who's not married? So they will want to pass a judgment on her character. She's asking for it.
Exactly.
Like so unless they somewhere believe that that person also wants it, they can't do it. Maybe, like for example, in my college, I remember when these guys, when the girls are there, they always talk to them. Are means like they're referring to them like animals, as like a separate species. So when you only alienate them, not as human beings, as objects, you can do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So perhaps this is coming. This is why I think many activists and social leaders are all speaking about educating men. During their upbringing and all that. Do you think that works, or is it a generational shift that has to...
Educating men means what? I think that's one of the stupidest things I ever heard in life.
Because men
what
can't
education works? No education ever works. First of all, in the sense, like for example, you take out sex education, which they kept on talking from 1980s onwards. And what is sex education? If you see everything anywhere, it is sexual proliferation. Is it good or bad? Is each person's objective. Here it is a desire quotient of a man towards a woman, and then directly the intensity of the desire, how much he can control or doesn't want to control, is arrogant or he's a psychopath or whatever, it just kind of manifests. So any antisocial behavior happens on that ground.
Right.
In which the sexual crime is one in the context. Like a guy with money in a briefcase, somebody can beat him on the head and take the suitcase and run away. That is also
that's one kind of a crime.
Yeah, that's one kind of a crime, which is, I think, related. They're related. Here, because we have this huge thing about sex as this thing, we are talking more about it.
Right.
It's eventually you are using your force to get what you want. It boils down to that. All of them at the end of the day, But what I really want to see, I thought about this when the Nirbhaya thing happened. If these four guys were a party to that particular incident, on a national television, if they are interviewed by some social psychologists or maybe whatever criminology professors of criminology, just to audience, the public to know what do they think. I mean, I would like to ask a question like like this age old thing. If it happens to your sister, if it happens to your mother, yes, we heard that. But to hear an answer from the people who committed the Nirbhaya Act is something I think going to be very educative.
Do you think
Then in that
could
context of that,
that could be happening behind closed doors?
I am sure it will happen. But I think why it is important, it should be televised. Because that is when I will also get to know the kind of a mental mock-up they have, which I can recognize in others when I talk. Like a lot of people might have the fantasy, they might not do it. Some only might talk about it. Some only might fantasize, some only might think about it. But when they know this is a similar thought and that is what happened to that guy, it can be a signal of alarm bell.
Right.
Yeah. Instead of that, they will just say, "Isko maar dena, we'll cut him into pieces," and this and that. You always have this emotional response and not go to the root cause of what is causing it. Yeah.
No, so you're saying that televising or making this public, available in the public domain, these interviews of these criminals, you're somewhere assuming and believing that they would probably talk with the highest self-knowledge and self-awareness of
whatever they might say. See, you might agree or disagree or whatever, but it can be a wake-up call to would-be rapists, because even if it never did it, I also thought like that at a point of time. It can be like pointing out your own deficiencies where you can seek help or where you can probably put more control on yourself.
On the system as well.
On the system, yeah.
So now the Supreme Court has taken this up suo motu and as appointed a committee to investigate actually all the details of the scene of offence and all that. Do you think that fast track courts and processing such, because many cases it is almost like a big joke only because of the delays, even in blatant evidences where we have seen available, people not being implicated or charged guilty. It's just delaying the whole process, making it die down in the media as well as in people's minds. So the seriousness is lost.
See, this again comes back to my thing, what I said about speeding up the process of the punishment. I do not believe is a deterrent. Whether it takes 20 years or 10 years or 2 years or whatever. Because, like I said, I strongly believe they do it because they think they won't get caught. So the fast track courts are not going to make any difference to that. If you're not going to get caught, as fast track or slow track, how does it make a difference? And it's easy to say that. For example, the Disha thing which the Andhra Pradesh government did, they have to finish the charge sheet in 15 days or some deadline they gave. I don't think anything like that happened ever after that announcement. That doesn't mean that no cases happened in AP or what. There's no rape. Of course, it can't be that. These are all knee-jerk reactions to quell the public's emotion at that point of time, and they don't have any thought behind it.
But where is the real issue, RGV, according to you? Where is the real issue for why such crimes are recurring?
That is what I'm saying.
Why the criminal?
See, any crime for that matter, not only rape, it happens because of what you want at that time. The desire is so overwhelmingly more stronger than what is acceptable in society. See, if I might have a sudden desire to kiss this girl, okay, like some random girl or some girl I know, now I would exercise patience, I exercise control, because I don't know what she'll say, or someone might say, or I might be arrested, or God won't like it, or God will think it's a sin, and all these various things we put in place to control the basic emotion of a human being.
Right.
Which is why we are civilized and we are social people. Now the antisocial, predominantly, he overcomes this because of the strength of his desire. And the only way we can do that is either psychologically make people convert. Punishments will not do anything.
But how do you convert people psychologically, for example?
That is what I'm saying. See, this is one process. I mean, this is one thing I'm saying. If I am seeing a person who seems to have, like for example, that beautiful documentary, India's Daughter, the lawyer was talking in the same language as the rapist. was working, was a, I mean, educated guy, he's got a degree, and he's saying it is her fault that why she should be coming in the night, you know, something like that, or whatever else. And so the mindset in the people of thinking of a woman like that, and if they can do anything that women can't do that. Women can't wear clothes like this. Women can't come out like this. This is a mindset predominantly, like which you were mentioning. Some chief minister said something, you know, like the ladke hote hain and all that, you know. All this is in a mindset. So I don't think there's much of a difference between the thought and actual rapists. The only difference is they did it and others didn't do it. So in other words, if all these are not there in place, more will happen. You know. So I think if at all, I mean, and this is not like a recent problem. This has been there, and we've been talking about it maybe for the last 50 years. But in spite of that, if nothing is happening, it is this.
So just to cite a few examples, like I mentioned, minor kids gang raped a minor girl, and there was another incident where a neighbor raped a 4-year-old girl. There was another incident where a child in a cradle was raped. A baby in a cradle was also raped, and all of this happened in less than a month in Telangana. So evidently something is off. It feels like that.
But I think that happened many times. That is what I'm saying. The point is, all these what you mentioned, they 100% come under there's some kind of a psychological condition. See, a grown man, an adult man, raping a woman comes in the context of the natural desire, which, like I said, is supposed to be controlled.
Right.
You know, raping a minor, or a minor not as in legal, I'm talking about a 4-year-old baby or something, that definitely comes under a psychopathic aspect. No?
Right.
Yeah. So I think, and anything on that kind of a thing, you can't really talk logically. That is for the mental experts to deal with it.
But like you said, the question of being a minor or not is only a legal term.
Yeah, in that context I mentioned.
Yes, that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
see, I'm saying in the rape case of Telangana, where the 4 minor boys raped a minor girl.
And then their parents.
The minor is not the point. Whether they have achieved the biological age of having a desire. That's what I'm saying.
Right. So evidently there seems to be no solution other than finding ways to identify the problem. Is that what you're saying?
No, identifying the problem is not the point. I mean, I think it is about when you're constantly making inroads into medical science. Maybe you have better medicines for cancer now than before. Maybe not perfect or something else. All the advancements in society keep happening slowly. You know, in that context, to fight this kind of a crime or whatever, the most logical way to do it, apart from other things also, of course, the punishment should be there. More important than that is, one, to have a huge campaign of inevitability of getting caught. You will be caught for sure. That is going to be a bigger deterrent.
We don't even do public shaming to, perpetual
that offenders. But public shaming also will come under the same thing. No? It will come under punishment.
Yeah.
When a person thinks is not getting caught, punishment doesn't make any difference. Any sort of punishment. Yeah.
Right. It's actually,
and then to psychologically hit them out of guilt, to make them aware what will be happening with the victims' lives after that. Yes, we might think that that kind of things, why will they hear it? But that is not the point. They are not the only ones. If there is one person is caught, I think there will be 1,000 others who have similar thoughts, for sure.
Yeah.
They might not do it, or they might be waiting for the opportunity.
Right.
Or they might just spin that at some point of time where they go out of control. So to stop that as a deterrent is to kind of make them aware what can happen. If I have a fantasy of something, if I think of something, if I see on television the Nirbhaya rapist talking something little similar to what I am thinking, that can create a guilt and fear.
Right.
Which is why I think it's important.
But somehow, in most of these cases, also the victims as well as the offenders or the rapists are not brought into the public space. Rarely that people actually get to see them in their normal form.
But that is my point. Why shouldn't they be brought? there is no logical reason. So if you think this can happen, if people agree after debating whether something like this might work, then they will figure out a process of how to do it.
Have you explored making cinema on something like this, where you actually put in your thoughts of what could be the possible solution or a roadmap to finding the source root of this,
I
rather than
definitely
reporting?
am very interested in doing a film on
Like-
this
like-
in terms of to see the point. I feel a rapist is like a disease. It's like a now. How come there are so many men who desire women, but they don't do what a rapist does? So what is that extra thing in the rapist? What happens? To understand the disease, only then you will find a cure. But to hate the disease is not a solution.
Or to or to
You can amputate the hand, but what caused the cancer in the first place? If you forget that, it will keep on recurring in some other body or the
and
other.
as one of the first steps you are suggesting is like exposing the rapist mindset
Yeah,
to the entire country
I
or
believe
society.
that works a lot.
Like-
That will work a lot because not for them. It will work for the people who have similar
Yeah.
these things.
As you always speak about people taking
Now
responsibility
imagine
for
if
themselves.
there's a bunch of questions you ask. When was the first time you ever thought of a woman as a sexual? Is it because you heard something from your father or your friends or someone you know? When was the first time you thought of a woman, and why did you think of such basic questions to come from the minds of these people?
Right.
Can be an indication of what's happening in society.
Right.
How did he form that in the first place? Either it is psychopathic, where there's no reason, where there's no logic for that, But if he's conscious about a crime, say a madman to be punished doesn't make any sense. But you will do it because he's a danger. But a guy who's conscious, who's normal otherwise, to do that is very important for us to know the mindset of that
Like you're
person.
saying, Nirbhaya rapists were conscious.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
From the little
because
that we came to know
little
from
I
the
came to know,
documentary, yeah.
and whatever I saw in the documentary of, that woman, and then what the lawyer spoke about that, all of them were conscious. That is exposed the mindset of an average Indian man, many of Indian men.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
feeling most people have, the public who has no access to actual information is that, we get these so-called accused rapists and offenders, and we actually bother to take them, put them in prison for a long time, and give them, in fact, a safer environment where they could potentially possibly come out and, if they're at their own homes, they could be attacked by people's emotions. We give them safety, we give them food, and we spend public money.
This is emotional nonsense of people. See, first of all, why is that in the judiciary system?
Right.
In terms of that. Judiciary always looks at taking the anti-social elements to put them out of society, which is where a jail comes from. Then a question of punishment. Are you punishing the person, like in Saudi Arabia, let us say, maybe some country, they'll cut off hands for theft. They will do something else for something.
That definitely.
And next time, but I am
I think-
saying, but do you want a society like that? Do you want? I mean, the point is, in a humane system of a democracy, in terms of where everyone, even prisons are about reform, because they believe there's a psychological problem with these guys, why they've become.
Right.
To reform at the same time to put them not in the society's path of danger is a two system which
Right.
humane civilized countries adopt. Okay. Along with that, the other thing you have to take into consideration is that if they are doing something drastic, to do something as drastic as them, is that really an answer?
Correct.
Then where is the question of civilization and where does it occur? So the whole point of the death sentence wanting not to be there. He should be away from creating danger to the society is a human civilization's basic point. So that is a logical aspect.
Yeah.
What you are talking about is the emotional aspect, because
Yeah.
you are angry and you want to do that immediately.
Yes.
That is one part. Second part is, when a person is caught, now the whole country is hating Sanjay Roy. And at the same time, did Sanjay Roy the only guy who did it? Or whether he did it or not is going to be told by the courts at the end of a trial. Till that point of time you reach, what is the point of wanting to kill Sanjay Roy?
Correct.
Then you are actually questioning the entire judicial system of establishing the fact.
Do you
Then
think-
if it is taking time, then you work on how you can speed up judiciary. But killing him now, right now, instead of wasting court's time is not the answer, because you don't know, you didn't see him do that.
In fact, you would rather interrogate him, investigate and find out what brought him to that, if he is truly the...
No, that is what I meant by trying to find what is causing the cancer.
Yeah.
Don't cut the cancer and think it will go away.
Because somebody
But
else
we
will...
don't ever concentrate on the cause. We always want to react on the effect. Yeah.
Do you think in some of the other countries where such crimes happen, perhaps they investigate further and do these kind of,
They do that, relatively, of course. Like if you look at the Conneticut Massacre, which happened a few years back in America, where this guy with a gun, he killed more than 16 children in a school. I never heard a single American say to kill him and to cut him into pieces. They're always they were talking about a certain condition, a psychological thing, which many people have apparently. But why in that guy it triggered? And without anybody's knowledge and nobody having a clue about it, is what they wanted to study on a medical aspect to that. Because that is where the problem is. The problem is not with this one body with a gun.
Right.
Because if that is manifesting in so many, where it is going to go wrong is what they were desperate to find out, to hopefully stop future things like that.
Right.
That we don't do at all here. If it is done, it is not done in within our knowledge. And why they should keep that a secret is anybody's guess.
Well, but however, I think it's brought out a lot of questions about safety of women at workplaces, working late hours.
That is also dumb, because the point is, are you going to put guards for every woman in the whole country?
It's
or
not
what?
practical.
Is it possible?
No.
Do you have the resources for that? And does anybody want to be constantly monitored? It will raise to a lot of other set of problems. It's not just that. So we are living in such a large country with so many people. It's inevitable such things will happen.
Right.
But instead of going for practical, finding the root cause and building it from up, you'll always want to react to the effect and have such mindless sessions of safety and environment.
Do you think this will actually make any difference to...
So if somebody says in hospitals all women doctors should not come in the night, all kinds of nonsensical things, and they don't come in the night, are the pays going to be reduced? Or if women patients are there and they want women doctors to look after them, what about that? You are not thinking anything. You just say whatever comes to your mind. And okay, hospitals. Then what about other work atmosphere? Why are hospitals only important? Others are not women or not? They are not endangered. What about villages? What about something is happening in the field? So, I mean, I think it's mindless emotional rhetoric. There is no logic to
But
that.
I wonder who has a proper clue about how they should be, probed to its deepest level that we can get access to.
I mean, only that can be done by committees being done in terms of to find the root cause of it. But in India, most of the time, the committees also like the HEMA
Commission, committee. Yeah.
I find the findings very stupid. Because I'm an industry person, I know exactly how it happens.
Correct.
So there's a gross generalization of the entire thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, women also perhaps, do you feel that it's time for women to also watch their own surroundings, or, because very trustingly, she went into the seminar hall, obviously assuming nothing is going to happen, although it was a deserted place. So do you think...
But that is what I'm saying. See, so many women go to so many places. Some girl she might not get a rickshaw after seeing a film or something, and she might be walking home.
Yeah.
Or she might not have the money to pay. Whatever, the various reasons people go various places. It's in the same country.
Correct.
Everyone has equal rights. And when something untoward like that happens, it's an incident. Of course, it should not have happened. But how is it possible for a woman to constantly be aware not to do this, do that? Because it happens once in a blue moon. It is not like every night it happens.
Correct.
How many times you hear a case like a Kolkata in a country of 130 crore people? How many times do you hear it? When some things happen, you don't know about it. That cannot be a deterrent, no? If every day 15, 20 things are happening, all of them are coming in the media, that can cause a certain
So true.
Yeah, more concern and more, to be careful. But that's not practical.
So the Disha encounter was, of course, you made a film on this also, was hardly a solution. While many people thought it was a very brave and a heroic act that happened, to not prolong this any further, and to
What is the grave?
the
Like the encounter, yeah.
itself, yeah. So
But that is exactly the problem. See, the problem is the judicial system works. The police say this. The prosecution presents a case. The defense presents a case. And the judge will take a decision on what seems to be true or not before giving the so-called judgment. If the police become alone to themselves, that is even more dangerous.
But in cases like this,
because how do I know those 4 people did it? That's because the police are seeing it.
yeah,
They never went for trial. In which case, you can pick up anybody and say he didn't shoot him.
yeah.
So how is that?
So that is
possible?
again not solving the problem at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Well, a lot of questions have resurfaced. But I think it's time
And
to.
one more thing, you see, the another point is a lot of people don't understand. See, I'll tell you the two incidents. Okay, now some people say if the woman she could have resisted, she could have already kicked him in the groin and whatever, some stupid things like that they say.
You know what Asaram Bapu said, right?
No.
He said that she could have called him Bhaiya.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The...
So the point what I'm trying to say is it also depends upon the personality of the girl, personality of the rapist also.
Yeah.
Like in the Nirbhaya case, they were drunk. They first beat up the guy who was trying, and then she resisted. It became a violent episode.
Right.
Okay. I know one more case in Bombay, where these guys, she's a photojournalist, and these guys told her that if you resist, we are going to break your knee. Now, if I was a girl, if I'm given a choice between that and getting my knee broken, I'm very unsure about what is it that I will choose.
You say you will not resist?
I won't resist. I myself definitely. Now, so another woman.
How do you know that they won't kill you after anyway?
I don't know about that. See, that is a separate thing.
Yeah.
To bear the pain of a broken knee on a physical level, I feel is far more torturous compared to being taken against my will, unwillingly. But that is what my thing is. Another woman might not think like that. But here, what I'm trying to emphasize, the point is, fear and intimidation is a very big thing in rape.
Right.
It is not sheerly the force, the physical force.
Right.
Okay. Like so, if even a man, if someone comes with a knife, or someone who just looks tougher, and if he kind of threatens him, it's easy for me to say from outside, you should have given him one punch in the stomach. It doesn't work like that. Very few people actually can resist physical intimidation and threat.
So no karate.
Men also
nothing.
Men also cannot do. Most men, forget about women who think of the weaker sex. That is not the point. So the point is, like in one more case, it happened where this guy, I don't know the exact legal term for that. The fact that one is in a superior position can suggestively say that if you don't agree, then then I won't push you, I won't promote you, I won't give you a raise in a salary or something. He might not even say it, but she can feel it. If I resist it, I might lose all this. I might lose my job. Then how do I take care of my family? How do I take care of my other things? She might succumb. Their physical force is not there, probably. But still it is happening under the same condition of a mental intimidation.
Right.
Whether he said it or he didn't say it also. So when it is so complex and it happens in so many ways, how do you ever address it? It's not possible.
There's no question of stereotyping or making this a common thing, except probing into the mindsets of these people and seeing what is that one common insight that's coming out, which is making them commit such crimes.
Yeah.
And perhaps I think making that public and letting people know that they will be caught.
I honestly believe, I'm not saying that is a final solution, that is a 100% solution, but I feel at least it will make a start. Yeah. I think the you should kind of attack the mind rather than the body. And what causes such a mind, I think that is where a possible solution can be there. Possible, I'm saying, underlining it, yeah.
Right, RGV, thank you for your valuable insights and
I don't know they're valuable. This is my opinion.
Well, they're
valuable to whom is the point.
Quite a few of, I mean, what you said are still going to be debatable points. But I think for today we have a hold of what's happening around. Especially what you said about making sexual liberation and making pornography.
So the point for me, if a snake is there, a snake is dangerous. Okay, it's poisonous and it bites and you die. Now, instead of getting angry with the snake, to understand the snake, the nature of the poison, what it thinks and what speed it can move, to study the snake will be a far bigger help to avoid being bitten by that, compared to just showing anger.
Yeah, and also in parallel, until we try to understand the snake, it's also important that we figure out a system that can be a little more alert, either at a personal level, when you're talking of the victims or possible potential victims, or even systemically keeping things a little more. I mean, that happens automatically as an after response to incidents like this.
Yeah.
So let's wait and watch if something will change with this incident.
Nothing will change.
Nothing. Well,
because you're not changing your tact. You're not changing your approach to the problem. So why will it? It's like there's a very famous saying.
You can't do the same things.
And expect a different result. Exactly the point. Correct.
Maybe somebody is going to hear you today. We'll see if
See, the only people, the rapists have to hear. You hearing
but
me,
they're not rapists walking around in tags and.
That is not the point. The mind, he knows he knows his fantasies. He knows what he wants to do.
Do you think that a rapist actually knows that he will end up raping somebody?
He will have his thoughts. He might not have done the physical act.
Yeah.
Actual of raping, but the uncontrollable desire to do something and whatever he thinks about women or whatever, that mind is what we need to tap into.
And I don't think many women activists are going to be happy about what you said about legalizing or making porn available to
everybody. It's like this, I saw this
not
one
just women
incredible,
activists, all traditionalists,
there's one website, it's like child pornography, So when you click on it, a guy comes whose daughter has been subjected to pedophile. So he says, I want to tell you, that what the family has gone through on this and that for having thoughts like what you did, the fact that you clicked into the site, you obviously have the same mind. And he spoke so agonizingly about his experience. That's a wonderful, I think, tact the American police have put to address the. So the child pornographer is getting into that site and they have these sites put by the police not to arrest them. Because that's just a thought. He didn't do anything. But to kill the thought, they try to appeal to him on an emotional level to create a guilt in him.
So are you implying that all these sites should have such social messages?
There are no such. Child pornography are illegal websites.
Oh, so child pornography is a
but you don't know.
Even rape is also.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That is what one point to also deal with the mind of the rapist, not the physical action is the only thing I'm trying to say.
Right. It's so sad that something as core and vital and basic to life has become such a big problem today, and with the number of
not today.
crimes.
I'll again correct you. It's always been there. The reportage is being made today.
Yeah.
That's and in a very bad way.
Yeah.
There is a problem. Yeah, which is the reason it will never stop. For example, the Mukesh Mill rape incident happened within 6 months of Nirbhaya. After the entire country was going blah blah and all the protests and everything, it didn't make any difference to them.
Everybody wants to see rapists being shamed publicly, brought out publicly, so that they feel a sense of.
Shame publicly right? Means what? They throw stones or what?
No. Public shaming just means what you just said about interrogating them in public.
That is
on
not
a public
shaming.
platform.
See, no.
Again, there are human
But shame,
rights.
you need to understand. You will give galis to them or what? What is shaming?
No, people need to have access to that, to think that they can fix it for themselves.
No, that is the shaming is not the word. Shaming is about publicly humiliating them.
Right.
You know? Humiliation can go to lynching, can go to burning them alive, can go to cutting into pieces, which is again what we talked about already.
Right.
That is not the deterrent. The solution has to be to go into the mind of the rapist.
And twist
There is
change
no
it.
psychological aspect which is being studied upon. Like for example, the simple example I gave, imagine a guy has a kind of a pedophile tendency, he gets into a site and he will feel that he is talking to him. Though it is the father of a daughter who's been subjected to pedophilia, he's talking in anguish. A guy would have never thought of the father of the little girl.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, so I think that is a brilliant strategy in terms of,
Very interesting thought, RGV. I think definitely, I think as more and more reporting is happening on such crimes, we are bound to.
And actually, at the most, I think as long as the media is still talking about it, the police might speed up the investigation. But they might also do a lot of mistakes because of that.
Because of that, speeding up like this.
And which then you'll start losing trust on the system.
Pressure.
Imagine the Sushant Singh thing, which happened. I mean, maybe at least 4 or 5 years. I don't remember. Till today, I don't know anything about it. But it used to channels used to say, they're rapidly speeding up the investigation. This, this, and nothing happened. So as long as media is interested, it will create an illusion that there is investigation going on very fast.
Right.
But investigation going on very fast is very easy for us to say, but we don't know exactly what the police are going through in the context. So I think we are living in that world now. So we will never know the truth and things will happen. You have to bear with it as long as there's not a very, a kind of a consolidated and a think aspect of what these are the A, B, C problems.
Yeah.
And what we can do to think of it logically instead of reacting emotionally.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, RGV, for that conversation.
Okay.